This conference will now be recorded.
This is one of the frequently asked questions in interviews, Propagate. How do we propagate the data from child to parent case? So already I have discussed about how do we propagate the data from parent to child case in the earlier lecture. So now we are going to discuss about how do we propagate the data from child to parent case. Let's go to the demonstration. So I do have already a case, parent case, and I'm going to add a child case here and giving the name as child case. All right. So this is my child case and there is already a parent case. So let's go and configure few of the parameters here. All right. So I'm going to configure the view. So let's add few fields that we would like to propagate to parent. Child detail 1, which is the text. And let's take one more field, child detail 2. All right. So these are the two fields that we would like to populate to the parent case. Okay. So click on submit. And now going to the second stage where I'm going to populate data to parent. So I'm creating a new stage, and this is a process where we are trying to propagate the data from child to parent. So there is a smart shape called update case which we can utilize in Pega that comes under the automations. So you can see there is an option called update case. All right. So this smart shape is particularly used for propagating the data from one case to another case. So you have a couple of options available. A single case if you are trying to update on a single case, or you can specifically specify a child case. All right. So you can specify the child case, or you have multiple child cases, then you can update it. All right. So you can specify a child case if in case you want to propagate the data to a child case. In case you are trying to update to your parent, so here you need to select a single case. All right. So here you need to update the cover INS key, which is your parent PZ INS key. So I'm going to discuss about it in a bit. How do you set that parameter? And apart from that, you need to set the details to parent. So how we are going to set the details from child to parent. So we have to take that information on the data transform, set details to parent. So click on double circle to create this data transform. So here this is going inside the work class. All right. So we are not going to keep it in the child class or in the parent case type class. We are straight away keeping the common class, all right, which is your work class. All right. So here you are going to add this data transform. So in order to have a proper page context, you need to keep your data transform in the common class, which is accessible for both parent and child. So this is the common work class. All right. So now coming to this, so here from where we are going to set it. So PY work page is your current page context. So while you are executing this case type, the PY work page will be your child case details. So all the child case information is available on your PY work page. So these fields which you are looking, these fields which we are setting up in the child case, is there in the PY work page, and now we need to set it in the PY work cover. Okay, so whenever we are trying to update a case, specifying the case ID, so this source becomes your PY work cover. So whatever the case ID that we are passing as a parameter, that becomes your target, and the source becomes your PY work page. Okay, so PY work page dot. So now we need to define this PY work page on our pages and classes. So now you need to see which class your child case is. Okay, so your child case belongs to the class work dash child case. So this is your PY work page. Now PY work page dot child detail 1 and PY work page dot child details 2. Okay, so from the source where you need to copy, you need to propagate to your parent. So when you keep a dot over here, this belongs to your parent. Okay, so you need to have a separate property created where you need to copy into it. Okay, or else you have to create the same child detail one. If it is the same property, you would have created in the work class straight away. Okay, so in general, if it is the common field, then in that scenario you can create in the work class and no need of creating in the child case type. Okay, so here I'm going to create a property child detail 1. So in the work class, save it. Similarly, I need to have it in the, you can have a separate property created as well. That is not mandatory to have a similar name. So you can use a another property as well. So here, let's say py detail. So I can take the existing properties as well. So these two fields are set on your parent. The source which you see, this is coming from your py work page. All right. So once you are updating the data transform, save it. Now there is one more thing that we need to do, it is your param.cover ins key. So where exactly the cover ins key is available. So you need to open the process, and here comes the connector in between the start shape and the update case, or whatever the connector, wherever the connector coming inside the update case. So prior to that, you need to have that case ID set. So param dot cover ins key is the parameter set. So from where you have to set it. So this should be coming from your px cover ins key. The px cover ins key is the property coming from your p by work page, which is your child case. Okay, so name, there are few out of the box properties, so which is default set from the parent to child while you are creating it. Okay, so as and when we are creating a case, so you can see this is a property which means set. Okay, so we are copying into this property, and this parameter is utilized in your update case smart shape. So param dot cover ins. All right, so that's it. I just need to copy, I just need to save it. All right, I hope I did all the things. Now coming to the parent case, I should have a create case. So first of all, I need to add a case, create subcase. So here I'm going to add a subcase. automations, there's an option called create case. So just select this. Okay, so you just need to create a child case called, and there is nothing else. So just save this. All right. So now I'm good to configure. So now I can run and see the behavior. So this is 8.6 version, and using the theme UI kit, I'm proceeding with creating the parent case. So parent case description and the agenda. Submit. So our parent case is created, PI-FUN-2 001, and there's a new child case. It launches to update the details, child case description. And as of now, the child detail 1, let's take it as Raviraj Pega trainings and new batch. Clicking on submit. So these two details which you see, child detail 1 and child detail 2, these two I need to propagate to your parent case. So now click on submit. All right. So let's open the clipboard, and so now that you are in the child case, so you can see here PY work page is your child case. So you have child detail 1 and child detail 2 information which you see. These details we are trying to populate onto the parent case. So on your PY work cover, now you can see child detail 1 is Raviraj Pega trainings, and the child detail 2 is copied to the property called PY detail. So which you can see over here, new batch. Okay, so whatever the properties that we are populating in this data transform, setting in this data transform, so you can see these are the properties set on your PY work cover, and these fields which are copied from your child case. So you need to ensure PI work page is defined on your base and classes before you are using them in the source fields. All right, so this is one way of doing it. And now coming to the second way, how we are doing. This is the traditional way. So this is how we are going to do in the recent days. So in case there are certain specific criteria which we are not fully fulfilling it via this update case, so there is another way of doing that. So I'm going to show that. But if you are writing in the current applications, you can use this update case. Now let's open this. There is a utility smart shape which we can use it in case whenever you are calling the activity, and just connecting to this utility. So this is activity driven, which is not recommended, but still we have an option to do it. Okay, so I'm going to write a utility, a new activity. Okay, and let's go and create. Okay, so you can still use obj open by handle, or you can use obj refresh and lock. Okay, so before using obj open by handle, you need to have that key available. I'm so sorry, I need to use the property set method. some difference in the UI. So let's take a property set. All right, so we just need to take the INS key, UI work page.pz INS key. So we just need to define that in the pages and classes first of all, which you are trying to copy. So we just need to have the class defined. Navigating back to steps, param.ins key, and this is your pz.ins key. All right, so this param.ins key we just need to copy and paste over the obj open by handle, and this becomes your py work cover, and you can lock and use this options lock and release on commit. Okay, and add another step to do the property sets, and of course we just need to specify the step page py work cover and set the fields which you want to propagate it. Of course I can use it the data transform straight away as well, so I can use the data transform which I already have it, instead of again using the property sets over here. And obj save. You just need to define that py work cover also in your pages and classes. All right, so once after defining this, so we just need to copy we just need to do the saving and then commit. All right, and that's it. Save this. So there are certain warnings available, we just need to rectify them as well. For now let's go with so we just need to do a obj save and then commit these things. Okay, and this is a utility that we are calling, so we just need to specify the activity type as utility. Okay, so once we are done with the activity, so we just need to update over here, submit it, ensure the description is properly done, update parent case and submit. All right, so now I can go back to my child case type, case designer, and refresh for the latest changes to update. Now click on save and run, so or else I could create a new case in the portal, the case manager portal. Okay, I just add some details and creating the new case, and here comes the child case, test case. I'm just adding the test detail 1 and test detail 2. All right, and clicking on submit. Oh, there is some issue with the commit has failed due to the lock is not held. So since already the lock is not released, so we are not supposed to directly use this obj open by handle since the lock is already acquired by the same user. So we haven't released it. So for that reason, we need to use, in such scenarios, we need to call obj refresh and lock. So you see the power of obj open by handle versus obj refresh and lock. So whenever we have a case, same case working upon, and immediately you are trying to update it, so we are not supposed to do that immediately until and unless the locks are released. Okay, so if the locks are released, then in that scenario we just need to acquire only the lock instead of entire DB object. Okay, so here I'm just using obj refresh and lock and saving it. Okay, now going back again, I just need to recreate once again. Okay, so now you can see it has been updated properly. You can just trace it and see as well how the page context runs. So now you can see the PY work page is having the child detail 1 and child detail 2 information, which is propagated to your parent child detail 1, and the other property, which is PY detail, has the second source details. Okay, so this way we can propagate. This is another way of doing it. So we can propagate the data from your child to parent in this way as well. But recommended way is always the first one, which is using the update case. So while answering the question in the interviews, so we can say the update, so using the update case smart shift, we can try to update it by specifying the appropriate key. Okay, and then we can propagate via data transform. Or else there's another way of doing it by writing a utility activity. We can write an activity which is going to take the input parameter. We can try to acquire the lock by using obj refresh and lock, and try to update the details and try to commit it. All right, so this is how we are going to do it. All right, thanks everyone.